Hello guys, welcome back. I'm Yusuf Shakeel and you are watching HTML tutorials. In this video, we are going to learn about HTML formatting. So let's get started. I have opened brackets and I will go ahead and create a new file. And I'll save this as formatting.html. And I will write the following HTML. So we have the doc type HTML, opening and closing HTML tag. We have the head tags and the opening and closing body tag. And we have set the title to formatting. Now let me go ahead and open this in the live preview. All right. The first formatting tag that I want to discuss is the bold tag. It is used to make any text bold. So let us go ahead and create a paragraph. This is a sample paragraph. If we want to make this word sample bold, we use the bold tag. So we'll write B and we'll place this sample within the opening and closing bold tag. So now you can see sample text is now in bold. Now if we want to make any text underlined, we use the underline tag or the U tag. So let us go ahead and create another paragraph. This is a sample paragraph. And let's say we want to make this text underlined. So we'll use the U tag. So now this text is a sample is underlined. Now if we want to make a text italic, we use the I tag. So let us go ahead and create a paragraph. This is another para and let us make para italic. So we'll use the I tag and we'll place this para inside the opening and closing I tag. So now the para word is italic. Now let us talk about the subscript and superscript tags. These are most commonly used in writing like chemical formula or math equations. For example, log 8 base 2, or let's say for oxygen O2. So let us first check the subscript tag. So I'll go ahead and write a paragraph saying oxygen is equal to O2. Now, in order to make this to subscript, we use the sub tag. So now you can see O2, the digit 2 is at the bottom. Similarly, for superscript, we use the SUP tag. So let's say we are writing 2 to the power 2 is equal to 4. So in order to make this digit 2 superscript, we use the SUP tag. So now we have 2 to the power 2 equal to 4. Now let's say we want to denote address. So for that, we use the address tag. So let us go ahead and create an address tag. and let us write some sample random address, say #123 2nd Street, ABC block, let's say XYZ city, some UVW country name, and let's say pin code 1234567, some random address. Now, another important formatting tag is the strike through tag. So let's say we have a paragraph. This is a new para, then we have written paragraph. Now we want to strike through this text para. So we use the strike tag, and we place the text within the opening and closing strike tag. And now you can see, let me zoom in. So now you can see there is a line through this para word. The next tag that we are going to discuss is the del tag, DEL. It is used to denote deleted text. So let's say we have a sample paragraph. This is a sample paragraph. And now let's say we want to highlight this text sample as deleted. So in that case, we use the del tag, and we place this sample inside the opening and closing del tag. So you can see we have a line through the word sample, and in the HTML form, the browser will know that this word sample is deleted because of this del tags. And now let us talk about the inserted tag. Let's say we want to highlight a word that was inserted. So in that case, we use the ins tag. So let us go ahead and create a paragraph, one more para, and this time we want to highlight this word more as inserted. So we'll use the ins tag, and we'll place this more inside the opening and closing ins tag. So if we look at this output, we can see the word more has an underline, and in HTML, when the browser will read this, it will know that the word more is inserted because of this two opening and closing insert tag. Now let us talk about the small tag and the big tag. The small tag is used to make a piece of text smaller in font compared to other text. So for example, let us create a paragraph. This is another para, and this time let us make this word another smaller compared to other words. So we'll use the small tag, and we'll place this another word within the opening and closing small tag. So now if we look at the output, we can see the font size of the word another is relatively smaller compared to the other text. Now let us look at the big tag. The big tag will make a piece of text bigger compared to other words. So for example, if we have a paragraph, this is another para, and this time we want to make this word another bigger in font, so we use the big tag, and we place another word inside the opening and closing big tag. So now if we look at the output, we can see the word another is in bigger font compared to other words. Now let us talk about mark tag. Let's say we have a piece of paper and there are some words written on it, and we use some marker, a yellow marker or a green marker, and we mark some words so that they catch our attention. In a similar way, in HTML, when we want to mark a text, we use the mark tag. So let us go ahead and create a paragraph. This is a mark tag example. And let's say we want to highlight this text with the mark tag. So we'll use the mark tag and we'll place the text inside the opening and closing mark tag. So now if we look at the output, we can see the word a mark tag highlighted in yellow. Now let's talk about the EM tag. If we want to emphasize a text or a word in HTML, we use the EM tag. So for example, if we have a paragraph, this is a para, and we want to emphasize this word para, so we'll place this word inside the opening and closing EM tag. So you can see the output, the word para is in italic form, and in the HTML, when the browser will read this page, it will get to know that the word para is emphasized because of the EM tags. Now let's say we want to make a text strong or important. So for that we use the strong tag. So let us go ahead and create a paragraph. This is a strong para. And let's say we want to make the text is a strong important. So we'll enclose the words inside the strong tag. And now if we look at the output, we can see the text is a strong highlighted in bold. Now let's say we want to create an abbreviation. So for that we use the ABBR tag. So let us go ahead and create a paragraph. We are learning HTML. And now let's say we want to create an abbreviation for this HTML word. So we'll put this word inside the ABBR tag. And in the opening abbreviation tag, we'll create an attribute title. And we'll write hypertext markup language. So now if we go back to our output and if we place the mouse on top of the word HTML, we get a tooltip which says hypertext markup language. Now let's say we want to create acronyms. So for that, in HTML we use the acronym tag. So let us go ahead and create a paragraph, and this time I'm going to write Indian space research organization, or ISRO. So in order to make this word ISRO an acronym, we'll enclose it inside the acronym tag and we'll save. So when the browser will render this page, it will know that the word ISRO is an acronym because of this opening and closing acronym tag. Now let's say we want to denote a quote in HTML. So for that we use the block quote tag. So let us go ahead and write a quotation by Muhammad Ali. So we'll write block quote, and inside this, let me go ahead and paste the quotation. We can see the output of the quotation. Another important formatting tag is the code tag, and it is used to denote a piece of code in a given string. So let's say we want to tell our browser that a piece of text is a code. So for that, we'll enclose that piece of text inside the opening and closing code tag. So let us go ahead and create a paragraph. Let's say set the variable var I equal to 10 semicolon. So this text var I equal to 10 semicolon is a piece of code, and it's in JavaScript. So in order to highlight this text as a code, we will enclose this inside the opening closing code tag. So we'll write code and we'll place this text inside the opening and closing code tag. So if we look at this output, we can see var I equal to 10 is slightly different from rest of the text because it is inside the code tag. And when the browser will render this page, it will know that this text is a piece of code. Now let's say we want to denote a program variable in a given text. So for that, we use the var tag. So let us go ahead and create a paragraph. Let's say set the variable x to 10. So we have the output, and now we want to denote this variable x. So we'll enclose this inside the var tag. And now if we look at the output, we can see variable x has a different font, and when the browser will render this page, it will look at this var tag and it will know that this x is denoting a variable. Now let's say we want to display the output of our code. So for that, we use the samp tag. So let us go ahead and create a samp tag, and inside this tag we'll place the output. Let's say output 1, 2, 3. So when the browser will render this page, it will get to know that this text is an output of some computer code because of this samp opening and closing tag. Alright, before we wrap up, let's talk about one more formatting tag, the KBD tag. So for example, let's say we want to denote a text which is an input from the keyboard. Let's say for example, press F5 key to refresh. So F5 is a key, and in order to denote it, we enclose this F5 text within the opening and closing KBD tag. So let us go ahead and create a KBD tag and place F5 inside the opening and closing KBD tag. So now when the browser will render this page, it will know that F5 is actually denoting a keyboard input because of this KBD tags. Alright guys, this brings us to the end of this tutorial. I'll post the tutorial notes on my website dyclassroom.com. The link will be in the description, and the code that we are writing in this tutorial series I will put it in my GitHub repository. And if you find this video interesting, then please give this video a like and please subscribe my channel because I make new videos every week. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. And like always, stay happy and keep smiling. Bye.